What's going on, guys? Rado here with another round of the Apex Racing League UK Series. 2 sprint races, 23 laps around Oran Park tonight. Terrible qualifying, we're starting 10th. This is like too far back
I'm going to run out of fuel before the lights get started.
Enjoy it, guys. It's about to go green. We've got about 5 seconds. So 23 laps and then we'll get to the reverse grid second race, which will be hectic around this joint. So enjoy.
Good luck, everyone.
Turn 1 is not going to be fun.
Car on your right.
Woo!
Car on your right.
Oh, how did we not get an incident?
I got tapped into you.
How did we not get an incident then? Unlucky, very lucky.
It's not the reverse grid race, is it? Well, it feels what?
Who that was?
I think a car ended up on its roof at turn 1 just played, so well done that man.
Far out. You need to stop for 20 seconds to clear that.
So then we got 3 places on the first lap. And this is probably the highest work rate circuit we go to all season long. That's really your only break, that front straight, which isn't really long at all. Keep it off the wall. This is probably your best passing opportunity here at turn 1 and turn 2. And by virtue of my gear ratio choice, it kind of takes away
Here, Katie, so
the ooh, watch that dirt, watch that dirt. Woo! The turn 1 option, because I don't get the acceleration out of turn, but I have a bit more apex speed than everybody else. And I have less wheel spin because it takes a bit longer to spool up. So we've got to get this final turn right to stay on the bumper of Josh. Probably not going to happen this time.
Car on your right. Stay left. Stay left.
The beauty of 325, I can just drive it around the outside.
All clear, all clear.
And hold on to that one there.
All clear.
Whoo-wee! I think I might have pinched him a bit there. But no harm, no foul. So let's see if we can get to 5th. We'll start in 5th in the next race. So I'm trying to play the reverse grid strategy here a bit because of my particularly poor qualifying effort for the start of race 1. It was very terrible. I made a setup change right at the end of practice, but the checkered flag flew before I could test it, so I had to kind of I did 3 laps. We get 4 solo laps. Because I crossed the line on my 3rd lap, it counted me as starting my 4th, so I just reverted back to the change, back to the setup before the change, and it feels much better. For those who don't know the history of Oran Park, it I think it was about 2007 or 8, the track was demolished and a housing complex took its place. So this is now forever preserved in iRacing. Woo! And of course, it's an Australian track, and they used to race super trucks around this joint. It's hard enough to do it in a V8 sometimes. Imagine doing this joint in a truck. It used to be the home of the usually championship decider, and one of the biggest accidents I've ever seen on a start grid between Mike Larkham and Paul Morris occurred here. If you haven't seen it, just look it up on YouTube. It'll probably be there, just like Mark Larkham fire. It'll probably be there. It was massive. I think I was a little kid then when I saw it and I was scared, but jeez, it was a big wreck. It was on the start grid, so of course it was, I think Morris just ran straight to the back of Larkham, who'd started on the grid, and big fireball, a bit like the Carl Reidler incident at Perth a couple of years back. Now that is the most unique braking zone into a corner ever. You kind of, my theory behind it is you get down 2 gears before you hit the kink, and then you just lift the brake a bit, because at that point the inside of the road falls away, so you can easily lock the left front, and then you throw it into 3rd gear at that apex, and it will generally pivot the car a bit, and then you want to get as hard onto the pedal as you can to get it back to 2nd, because if you can get a good run through turn 1, you'll generally set up a nice run through this section, provided you get turn 2 right as well. But getting turn 1 right will make you feel good, so then you get turn 2 right. And that's my favourite part, that little flip-flop. When you're committed, you can try and go flat out, but it generally doesn't work. That's why I say you can try and go flat out. Just having trouble getting it pulled up at the moment. So making little inroads into Tobias up ahead of Kurt, but not really getting anywhere with Kurt at the moment.
Thanks.
Sounds like the leaders are already in traffic. This place is just so bumpy as well. It is ridiculous. You want to just a very difficult circuit to get the car set up for, because
Got a slow car on the left.
you try and get it done one way. So thank you very much, Mr. Shepherd.
Car on the left now.
You want it to be able to change direction quickly, but you also want it to be able to continue that turn, but you want it to ride the bumps as well and put the power down. So a lot of the traction zones you've got a fair bit of steering lock still applied, so you want to be able to get that weight on the outside of your tyre and get it to drive away from the corner, which is why I use 325, because it assists me in doing that, because I don't have the best throttle control, so I tend to use the gear ratios a bit to do that.
Sorry, Will. Alright.
Right up in behind Stenberg now, but we won't be able to do much with it really.
Thank you.
Got one on your left.
Or maybe not.
Still there. Still there. Hold the line. Clear on the left.
There we go, one down. After Tobias now. We're getting pretty close to half distance as well.
Thanks guys, I know that was tricky for you there.
Well, will Alex let me through in turn one? Nope.
That's fine.
Stop,
Thanks.
stop. Thank you.
Car on your right.
Cheers, Alex.
Clear on the right.
Thanks.
Well, it shows a bit of the pace difference between the quicker guys and the slower guys in this series, who are already
I've camped inside.
in traffic at half distance.
Thank you.
But because it is such a short track, there shouldn't be that much of a time difference, but there just tends to be, because if you get the car wrong, you're going to be slow. We'll go around the outside.
Left. Clear on the left.
Alright, let's get a traffic free lap now. Get away from Stenberg. A little bit of gain on Tobias, and we put about 3 tenths on Stenny, so hopefully we can get past.
Right.
Get it into second and turn the car. Kind of fell asleep in the braking zone there.
That last shot. Yeah, it was a nice little battle we're having there. I made everything set up just for a race and work out. I'm not going to defend it. Sorry, Jake. Come past.
No worries, thank you.
Those bumps at the apex of 3 are the most annoying things ever invented. I know they weren't really invented, it's just a feature of the track, but you can get them on the entry, and they're not too bad. You get them on the exit, and you'll have to sit there for ages waiting to put the power down. Because you're waiting for the front to stop bouncing, and then the rear will start bouncing. No, it's just a pain in the backside. That's where you really got to work your suspension settings to minimise the bounce. There will be bounce, you've got to minimise the pogo stick. No, that's not a term I penned, that's an IndyCar term, the pogo stick. Not making much headroad now into Tobias's gap.
Right. Watch out, Craig. Fair enough, mate. Scared the hell out of me. What happened, Will? Engine.
Though saying that, we did just get nice and close across the bridge. That was weird. What happened to his car there? Did the opposite of what you think it should.
Come down the inside. I'll let you in. I won't defend.
Clear on your right. Clear on the right.
It's very hard to do a pass into turn 1 because you need as much space on entry as possible.
I wasn't expecting to turn in then. My fault.
Come past.
Here we go, 5 to go. Get it stopped. Don't like that chatter.
Fair luck, Scotty. Yeah, cool. Cheers up.
Sorry, Sam, my tires are gone. I looked at
I don't know why he's apologising. It's for position. Tobias and I had a chat before the race and he reckoned his tyre would be gone after 5 laps, so he's done better than he expected. He's so sideways. That's ridiculous how sideways he was. I can just imagine the wheel work he's doing at the moment in that cockpit. He has some sore shoulders after this one. Bad run through those S's there. Very bad, but we know because Tobias' tyres are shot, we'll make it up pretty quick.
2 laps to go.
Looks like Ian might be struggling a bit as well.
thank you, fellas.
Got about 5 laps. White flag. 1 more lap to go.
Make it count, 1 to go.
Pass ride.
Come through, Alex.
Thanks. Thank you. Alright.
even get the blip for second. It just went straight in.
Got a slow car on the right.
The best opportunity is going to be a lunge here through the flip-flop. Nah, not happening today. But we'll start ahead of him for race 2. So go ahead and enjoy a 10-second break. I'll go and enjoy a 10-minute break. So we shall see you for race 2. And this is race 2, but it looks a bit different because I was an idiot and forgot to turn the Dextory back on, so it's not live. This is from the replay, so it's going to be no relative or anything. But we got another 23 laps and we started 6th. We got another good launch, but second phase of the start is shocking. Need to work on that. We end up 3 wide into turn 1, and it's not pleasant when I hear that call in my ear. But we make it through unscathed, pick up 1 spot there. It's really just pick up another one here, I think. Yep, nice move down the inside of Mr. Stenberg. I believe we even get, yeah, we even get Yelena on the outside there. Up into 3. So already up into 3rd after 3 turns, so that's a pretty good effort. Now it's about getting our head down and keeping the quick guys, as many of the slower cars between us and the quick guys. Right now, Ian Ford is behind us and he's a pretty hard charger, so I want to get past Mr. Thomas here as quickly as possible. So there's a car between me and Ian. Thought about it into 1, but thought better of it until I tried to do the inside move, but it didn't quite work, so I had to back out of that. But we do it into turn 2, nice and clean. Onwards towards Josh Burden. Bad now. This is where the good bit of the race starts, because Ian got past him pretty quick, and I believe we catch up to Josh fairly quickly, but we'll have to see. Now, unlike everyone else in the field who's probably running either a 3.50 ratio or a 3.75 ratio, I'm running a 3.25 ratio. There's a bit of reasoning behind that. One, I can carry more speed at the apex. I'm able to, the car will roll nicer for me, which I tend to be a lift and coast and roll the car through the turn sort of driver rather than get to the apex and point and squirt. I don't tend to like to do that in the V8. So I can carry more apex speed. I get a lot less wheel spin when I put the power down because it takes a bit longer to spool up, and really it just means I'm more comfortable with 3.25 than I am with 3.5. And the way I've tuned the car, it suits 3.25 a bit more. If I put 3.50 on, it'll be a rally car. So you'll note up here, if I get a good run up the hill, I can hold it flat pretty much from exit to the crest here, and there's no wheel spin, so it's a good feeling when you get that. And you'll notice everywhere else in the lap, I lose a bit of time on the straight, coming out of turns, mainly probably about the first 20-50 meters, because I don't get that initial burst of speed. But when we get into this tight, twisty stuff where it's all about throttle modulation and apex speed, I just take this guy to school on it, which is the annoying bit because you can't pass and part on quick in. So at this point we've got so we got myself, Ian and Kurt have all gotten through the mess of reverse grids. I had a look at Josh there. Jake, Aaron and Dean haven't had as much success getting through the field. I don't know why that is, but it's a good thing for me because it means if I can get past Josh and I get a nice gap over Ian, be able to get a good position and a total round score for the round. But we never know what happens in racing. You might make a stupid mistake, and as is witnessed here, putting a wheel on the dirt, likely to save it, because if you hit that outside wall, race is done. You save it, we lose 2 spots, but no harm done really, because we're still connected to the train, and Josh will most likely back us up, back the group up to me. And for the whole time Ian is behind Josh up in second, battling first, he has a look at almost every opportunity. And I'm sitting here driving and I'm like, please turn him, because I don't get 2 spots when we both spin around and do donuts. But it doesn't happen, it doesn't work out with me that way. I think Ian gets a nice clean pass done after a few laps. But Josh is proving so far to be the cork and ball. Right there, that could have been the best moment for me to happen. Ian gets a bit wrong and they're both off into the fence. And Kurt and I can just race for the win, but it didn't happen. So you see here, perfect illustration. I don't get the initial launch off the turn, but the draft kind of masks it a little bit because I'm in it. But when it's just me and there's a car running 3.5 behind me, you really notice it. But I get the speed back later in the straight, and then a bit of a moment there. I can also carry a bit more through that little kink in turn 1, which is why I get really close to a steady into 1. There we go, Ian gets past Josh there, a little bit of a bump, but no biggie. So what's going through my head now is we need to get past Kurt and we need to get past Josh as quick as possible, because Ian is just going to check out and take the race win. Have a think about it there on Kurt. Because I've been in the traffic in this, I've adopted to make up for my lack of straight line speed in turn 1. I've adapted my braking into the kink in turn 1. Before in race 1, I was going down 2 gears and then kind of just relieving the pressure on the pedal a little bit, and then getting down into 3rd and into 2nd and really getting the car stopped nice and early so I can hit the apex early. But I've adapted it so now I'll brake and I'll get a late apex. So what I'll do is I'll go down 2 gears and then right at the kink I'll just plop it in 3rd. Again, it'll rotate the car, but then I'll let the car roll a bit more, so a little less brake, and then I'll give the pedal a whack again and then put it into 2nd, and hopefully by that stage I'll be able to roll up the inside and then I'll just get it stopped and not force them off the road, but just not give them enough room to get the optimal exit drive they want. So here we go, down 2, lift the pedal, go to 3rd, and then just keep rolling, and then we hit 2nd and we'll put it up the inside. It's a pretty late move, but Kurt saw us. We get it done. I think we get it done before we can get to turn 2. Yeah, so he's in behind us now. So now we can get past Mr. Cork in the Bottle, Josh Burden. For the 2nd time we can try and get past him. You see Ian's already checking out. He's probably at about a 2-3 second lead already in about 2 laps. So he's putting a bit of gap on us. We need to sort that out quick smart. The biggest illustration of where my apex speed outclasses Josh's is this turn here. Every lap pretty much I was gaining a massive amount of just visual distance on him through that turn, and it caught me out a few times. There's one point, here we go. I don't know, that's pretty close to leaving me enough room. I didn't think it was, but I wasn't technically all 4 wheels with the white line, so probably wasn't enough room, but it was good hard racing and it was a late move, so So yeah, and we outbrake ourselves here. We get the shift to second wrong. We don't actually blip, it just goes into second. So a bit of the one hand on the wheel and just kind of dancing to fix that problem. So 2 mistakes that cost us position. So we're back behind Mr. Stenberg again. I'm sick of seeing these new Dayco Powerbond sim instrument cars. Just move him out of the way. But no, got to get past him again. At this stage, I've come to the conclusion that I'm going to have to work a lot harder than I did in race 1 to get positions, mainly because they're not going to be, there's not lower tier drivers in front of me anymore, it's all the good guys. So I'm absolutely just smashing the car right now. I'm just pushing it to its limits, there's another off track there, getting so much wheel spin and just putting it right on the limit, trying to pump out as many quality laps as I can, or quality style laps as possible. You can't put out quality times once you're about 2 or 3 laps in, because there's not the grip level left to do it. So we've already done this move a few laps before, but this time we get it done a little bit earlier. Wasn't sure I was actually going to get stopped, but we get it in, and Stenny fights a bit more this time. He gets a better run off the turn, but when we hit the pedal, the stop pedal, we get in front of him. And that's about a 4 or 5 second lead now Ian's got. Just in about 2 laps he stretched that out. So he's gaining about a second a lap while we're stuck in this queue. And this whole time, Jake Burton's now got past some of the slow guys. Jake is catching up. He was about 4 seconds back when I got past Stenberg the first time. Now I think he's about 2.5, 3 seconds behind us. So we've got to get a wriggle on, because otherwise we'll have 2 of those Dayco cars behind us, and one of them is a bit racier than the other. That'll be Mr. Burton. Not afraid to throw it down the inside when he sees fit, but it's usually clean. So you can just see glimpses in the rear mirror of Jake's car as he comes around the rear turn there. The rear turn, what the heck am I saying? The final turn. It's not even live and I still mess it up. So you can see that when we hit 3rd gear, there's a bit of bump in the road, and it just rotates the car nicely, gives us a straight braking into turn 1 when we put it into 2nd gear. You can see Josh is just moving the car across a little bit more towards the centre of the road, just to make his intentions clear that have a look here, but yeah, no, he's going to chop the nose off. That's usually one of my favourite passing spots, turn 3, because of my higher ratio, I think that's how it works. I get a bit more drive off the turn, and I can just outdrive him, because I can put the foot to the floor while these guys can't up the hill, and generally get a bit of a advantage doing that. But Josh, see, and that's where it catches me out. I had to hit the brake mid corner, I gave him a little bump, and that let Kurt get right on our tail. And it's at this point I'm realising I'm losing too much time in the exit of final turn, so I've got to adjust the way I enter the turn. However, I am thinking this, I'm not doing this. As you'll see in the next few laps, I don't actually change what I'm doing, I'm just thinking I am, which is, it changes towards the end of the race, but I don't actually implement it until I'm past him, which is some time away still. I absolutely love the bridge section. It's kind of an interesting way you slow down for the turn. Normally, when you're normally braking for a corner, you get straight off the throttle and straight on the brake. I don't know whether this is my technique or not, but I get to about half throttle as I hit the crest, and then I kind of just throttle and brake balance. I'll give them a little, just kind of, because I got a pressure pedal, I'll just kind of brush my foot across the surface. I won't hammer it hard, or just, you know, just get a little push, get a little bit of pressure, get a bit of weight on the nose, turn it in, and then just drive out. It's an interesting technique. I don't actually notice I'm doing it until I watch it back and see the graph pedal bar thingies. And if you don't understand a word I said, I didn't understand it either. I just know what I do. So he's taking a defensive line, I'm not even looking at the inside, which compromises him here. It's like, yeah, I can do it, No, I had to brake too early, so it's not going to happen this lap. And as you can see, I don't know if you get a good view of it in the rear mirror, there are now 2 blue and black cars behind me. That's bad news. I only want one, and I want it to be Stenberg. I don't want Mr. Burton behind me. Get him away. But no. It's continuing to apply the pressure, and it gets to a point where myself, because you're not seeing the track rail motion because it won't be on in the replay, but I'm kind of leaning to the side every turn. I'm not actually looking at the front of the car. Got my head tilted a little bit just to look around the back corner panels of his car. And it's an interesting way to drive when I'm tucked up in behind him, because I don't actually see many of my apexes or my braking markers. I just kind of, like, I can't see where I brake. Usually brake at the end of the wall there. I can't see it because his car's blocking it, so I just have to preempt when it's going to happen. And there we go, Jake has got past Kurt. So that's bad news. Bad news though. So Josh goes a bit deep. Almost a little bit of a bump there. We put it up the inside. We use our ratio to drive us up the hill. We get pretty much almost past him, and then whack. Ooh. Yep. Gotta leave me a bit of room as well. You know, two cars, you can't. Law of physics do apply to other V8 supercars. But no harm, no foul. No incident points. No lost places. Nearly a bump there just for a little bit of displeasure, but I thought better of it. So you can see now we're starting to modify our line through the final turn. What I want to do is get a late apex so I can square the car off and drive it. Because the shorter the distance on the straight, the better for me, because it means Jake's got a massive run on me here, and I'm actually thinking he's going to pass me, but thinks better of it, pulls in behind. I want to shorten the distance of the straight as much as possible, because it's not my strength. My strength is the latter half of the lap. So they don't have the massive run on me, and we stick it up the inside here to Josh, and he has nothing to do with it, and we just make sure to let him know you're not coming past again, just swipe his nose off. So we're through. Jake gets through as well, but he has to put in a little bit more effort. I think he bumps him as well at the exit of 3. So fight on, game on, here we go. Sutton versus Burton. Round 2,000,003. Can never get away from this guy. But we got a, can't count in the mirror, to a 4-car train behind us, 5-car train behind us. So we were a 6-car group. I didn't notice. I was too busy staring at that Sim Racer logo on the back of Josh's car to notice that there were that many cars behind us. So now I know, because Jake runs a much shorter ratio. I think he runs 375. I've really got to get good exits off this final turn. I have to absolutely. I don't care if I'm sideways and drifting. I'm just going to put the foot to the floor and get away from him. But it turns out my strength is actually the braking into turn 1. That's always something I found I've been decent at Oran Park. My strength is the braking into turn 1 and the run up to the bridge. Usually I suck around this back section, but I kind of got it right with tonight with the setup and everything working well. Again, I absolutely love the flip-flop. It's just it's a pure commitment corner. If you're not committed, you're not going to go fast through it. Basically how it's going to roll. But again, you need the car to be able to react, because you're kind of on 3 wheels the whole turn. It's a weird way. The left front's up in the air. Correction. The right front's up in the air when you first enter the flip-flop, and then you hit the curb, and then you try and land it and get it onto the next one and just straight line it as much as possible without cutting the track and getting a slowdown, because it's actually, if you get it wrong because it's blind, you'll get a slowdown, and it's a bit of a painful one to clear, because you're not going to be able to clear it really until the straight, so it's not a nice thing to do. So you can see we're pushing hard now. We're getting a bit more sideways than we were before, and here I am thinking, oh great, I pushed my tyres so hard there, they're gone. They're probably at like 70%, 65%, which is not the case. I find out post-race that the tyres are actually used less in this race than the previous one. I had about 80% left on the front and 85 on the rear, whereas in race 1 I had about 70% left on the fronts and 80 on the rear. So I only made one tweak to the setup, and it was a very small tweak, but it seemed to just make the tyres last a little bit longer. And by now Ian's Mr. Gear there gave Jake a run. Ian's about 10 seconds up the road, so he'd go on, no chance of winning. You just want to bring it on in second place. So the laps are winding down, and I'm ever worried about the Burton. The Burton being Jake, not the Burton being a type of manoeuvre he pulls. It's just, yeah, he's Jake Burton. He'll probably chuck a pass and go kart it in there and get it done. Now I know by this point, if I have about 5/10 of a second on Jake when I exit the final turn, he's not going to be able to get me into turn 1. So my goal every lap is to nail the back section, so I've got about 5/10 of a second when we exit, and then I'm safe, as long as I don't make a mistake. But that's my goal every lap, and then it turns out at one point I'm not actually safe, but we'll see that later. Found out post-race from Jake as well that he pushed so hard. I think he said he was driving on the bands in the tyre. He'd worn them down that much, just pushing to catch up to the train behind Josh, and then just, you know, fighting away behind us. So the 6-car train has now become a 3-car train, and I'm the engine at the front, you know, leading the charge with probably a car that's not as good as the guys behind. No doubt they have got the quicker car, but it's about what you do with it. Not you know how quick it is, you got to be able to use it. But of course, Jake can be a confident driver. Just when he doesn't run into imaginary marshal posts in broadcast races. So right now I'm pretty much on the limit every time I get to a major stop with my brake limits, because you can hear it every time into turn 2 I'm in that chatter, and that chatter is not a good thing to have. It means the rears are starting to lock, and if you get too much of that, you're going to be doing doughies, and you don't want that. So we're very much pushing them. Now this time I could have moved the brake bias forward. However, I was already having a few issues with me carrying the brake pedal a little bit, and it was just locking the inside front. So I left the brake bias as it was, just a pure comfort thing. So yeah, we've already adjusted our line now. We're going for that late apex to get it as square as possible. Run it out to this wall, because it's a sort of wall where once you get past the bit that's out, like, what's the word? Protruding, that's the word, from the actual guardrail. You get to the pure concrete bit, and there's so much room you can use where it actually detects you're entering pit lane. So you use part of the pit entry as your exit road. So I've got a bit of traffic ahead. I think at this time we've got about 3 or 4 laps to go from memory. Can't exactly tell because there's no lap counter, because I'm an idiot and don't put deck story on before I start a race, you know. All that good stuff. Now the eagle eye observer would notice it, but you used deck story for the first race, so when you start iRacing up, shouldn't it just start out with you? Yes, it should. However, I turned it off to take the picture for the thumbnail, and you don't want to see little frames per second monitors scattered everywhere. So I turned it off to take the picture, and then I forgot to turn it back on. I got on the grid, and I'm like, dang, it's not on. So we're going to be doing our first recording session, not a live commentary. So, apologise for the commentary in race 2 not being as exciting, because it's not live, it's not in the moment, but you get that in race 1. And here we go, Jake just threw it up the inside, and this guy's like, pass left, and I'm like, yes, he's going to block Jake a little bit. We went 3 wide for a second, Jake's still on the inside, but 325 prevails, and I get the nice drive up over the hill. and we are safe for one more lap. I wasn't actually expecting it. It caught me off guard with that manoeuvre. So the next lap I made a little bit of an adjustment, which was just brake later, and I hope you don't loop it. So I think it's 2 to go. Just working from memory, I think he did try to pass me with 2 to go. Now this is one of the first reverse grid races I've actually done where I haven't been involved in some carnage. Mainly because I started more towards the middle of the pack. Usually I'll be about I'll finish about 3rd or 4th in race 1, so I'll be 8th or 7th place, but I was a little bit further up, and I think everyone's a bit more behaved, because we had our carnage in race 1, like there was a guy doing barrel rolls, so are we in the reverse grid race in race 1, or what? I think someone actually said that, but so I went really deep there, and I was motorbiked it in there, backed it in. Now I could cheat and press space bar and bring up the light count, but that'll ruin the video, so we're going to leave it like this, and I'll just guess when the race is finished. I'm sorry. I haven't been counting. It's hard to keep track. Just put a lap count on the steering wheel. That's an idea. Yeah, this is the last lap. So we're coming around to the white flag. You can tell because Jake had a moment, and he was about 2nd and a half back. So we end up bringing it home in 2nd place. Yep, there we go. End of the race. So we ended up bringing it home in 2nd place. Very good result. Made up 4 places from the start. So good battle. Won't be any videos early next week. I'll be away on holiday. There may be one Sunday, Monday, something like that. But there won't be any GT3 or probably an IndyCar video either. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed a mix of live and recorded commentary. And I'll catch you on the flip side.